The content provided by Full Throttle Forex and or subsidiaries of Full Throttle Forex is for informational purposes only. Full Throttle Forex and any or all of its members are not qualified or licensed to provide trading, financial, investing recommendations, suggestions, or advice. In no way are the speakers or guest speakers performing in an advisory capacity. You must conduct your own research and analysis. You guys know what this is about. This is about us teaching you how to do exactly that. This allows you to be completely responsible for your own actions and your own decisions on whether you should trade in the Forex marketplace at all, either with software trading or manual trading strategies. Your attendance on any Zoom, call, or social media live event is your acknowledgement that you agree to the above statement and that you agree to hold harmless Full Throttle Forex and its subsidiary speakers and anyone who appears on these calls. All right, and
so yes, you are accurate, Alan. With this setup, if someone had a $2,000 account, if they were running these settings, you know, a starting lot size of 0.04, a level range starting at 12 and then multiplying, you know, at 1.18, and then a position size multiplier at 1.3, which again, I think this approximates probably for those that are running the Trade Ringer beta software in our community, this I believe this really validly approximates a point of reference that would look, you know, familiar to most people, even though there might be some slight nuances. Some people might have a slightly, you know, different range multiplier. Some people might have been using a slightly different level range or position size multiplier. By and large, I believe that this gives us a very valid point of reference for most everybody.
Now let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So in all, so we were together yesterday. We had a wonderful visit from Mr. Sean. That was wonderful. Yeah, it was really good. It was very enlightening.
Great dude. Great dude.
Super great dude. It's the first time.
As are so many of our members of our Full Throttle community, man. A lot of fun.
I'm not exactly sure the significance of his hat, but I still liked it. It said 240% on it. That's good. I like that. That's probably a little.
You know what it is. So here, I'll tell you as point of reference. If you take $1,000, and if you can compound that $1,000 at just a simple 1.75% per week, at the end of the year, that $1,000 will have a new balance of over $2,400, which represents 240%.
Oh, is that where you got the hat made?
Yeah, 100%. Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Me likey. Okay, so that's awesome. I thought he was operating at a range that I've never been able to hit. I always say I'm going 110 miles an hour, but never 240. But all right, so in all those trades that you went through on all those different accounts yesterday on FX, and you guys pouring over trade after trade after page after trade after trade individually to find out this data, are you saying that most of them closed within 76 picks? Most of them?
Yes, absolutely, unequivocally, yes. If I, as we talked about, right, if I had an effective way to actually, you know, run a download on these multiple accounts and compile that data in an Excel spreadsheet and run some percentages, I would be confident in venturing to guess that 85 to 90% of all Trade Ringer trades are closing in 76 pips or less.
Or less.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or less.
Okay. All right. I smell what you're stepping in here.
Yeah. So here's again probably a pretty common display in terms of drawdown percentage, right? I mean, because so many of us have been running these settings, we have frequently seen our accounts in the week in a 20, 25 to 30% drawdown. That's not been uncommon at all, right? That's been very, very common. Now you'll get to see conclusively what I found to be some of the common denominators in accounts that have maintained drawdowns that are much lower, and accounts that are producing over the last 7 to 8 months producing phenomenal gains while keeping the drawdowns very, very low and not taking haircuts of any real kind. Forget about that blue bar there, by the way. I don't know why that's on there. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's a leftover for that's on another screen actually where I use that blue border. Anyway, I'm not sure about that. In fact, here, that's gonna drive me crazy. Let me
I knew it. I
yeah,
knew it would.
that's where it was right there. I don't know why it's
Was it
here. There
on
we go.
there?
There we
There we
go.
go.
Now it's gone. Okay, so I'm going to refer to these as a BTL setup, as in built to last, as in protect the house, as in keep the account safe. All right, and I'm going to point out to you the differences. You're going to notice them very easily, but we talked about some of them, right? So the first common denominator that I found amongst the accounts that have enjoyed relatively low drawdowns and consistent, sustainable forward progress, even when a currency pair goes completely yo-yo cuckoo sideways, and this will start to really illustrate why. And then I'm gonna probably you'll have the most to want to weigh in on the next two slides for sure. Um, but the first conclusion I found is that the accounts that are running the best, again, more very consistent gains and much lower drawdowns. Believe it or not, their lot size is 0.01 per 2,000, and I saw this across numerous accounts. They're running more conservatively, but they're crushing it. These all, let me say this for the record, all of these accounts I've evaluated are right around 100% gain or higher over roughly 7 months. Okay. So it's not like they're suffering in terms of gain in exchange for the small lot size. They're still killing it. They're crushing it. They're churning substantial profits. And I think in the next slide, it will illustrate why. And that'll be the key takeaway in a lot of this. We're going to talk about the grand reconcile and how this becomes extremely relevant. This is where I couldn't sleep last night because the light bulb went off for me. Why is this relevant? How is this relevant? And I'm going to illustrate it. But it matters the most in the context of the grand reconcile. And so, but look at this. Okay, so on a comparable level of price action, look at now on this setup. So let me finish with the setup first. So we've got 0.01 per 2,000, not 0.02 per 1,000. 0.01 per 2,000. Okay, and we've got a very similar.
Is that a forex difference? 4x, not forex.
Yeah, 4 times. That's
Four
correct.
times.
That's correct. Funny, no pun intended, right?
4 times difference.
No pun intended. Yeah. So they're running 400% more conservatively is a way you could quantify that.
All right.
They're running 400% more conservatively. Now, level range multiplier, still very comparable to where a lot of us have been running. However, starting level range, look at this one.
21.
Not 12, but rather 21. And so, what is that? Almost 2 times more conservative, right? You go from 12 up to 21, and they're still multiplying to extend that level range to, again, to slow the trader down, to not get handcuffed so quickly into multiple levels, which is multiple additional lots or portions of lot sizes, which is ultimately more dollars in drawdown, right? And so, and then the position size multiplier, I left it there because they were pretty comparable, right? So the big two differences were the starting level range is much safer and more conservative, and the lot size is 400% smaller. And yet these accounts are still, again, around 100% gains through 7 months, roughly.
All right. So first of all, can we verify that the level range at 21 and the reason why we were running 12 was not because one of us got dyslexic and thought those numbers should be reversed for fun? That wasn't the idea. All right. Here's what the idea was. And again, there's a billion strategies, you guys. This is what makes this so fun, right? It's like playing chess, right? For me, it makes it fun. Now, people are probably thinking right now, well, yeah, it's fun until you get blasted in the face. No, I've been blasted in the face. It's fine. It's an education, right? So it is fun to figure this stuff out. So here we are. We have a level range now where it is 21, right? But here's my big question for you, bro. We're 400% more conservative, which suits me fine. I'm noticing on your level 3, I'm 76 pips in the market. all right, which is only an $82 drawdown. If you guys are tracking with me, look in column D where you see level 3, cycle across to columns G and H, and you'll see 76 and 82, even though he has that written down below as well, which we're all super psyched up about a 4.14% drawdown. Can you refresh my memory? Where was I at 76 pips in the market on the prior screen?
Gladly. Here
Prior.
you go.
So oh, again, is that what we're doing right now?
I didn't get this as prettied up as I would have liked to, but you can just compare the two side by side, right? So at 76 pips,
holy,
look at that, bro.
Bones. That's
wicked. And so that's why I've been pretty excited to get these findings into our community, because this is monumental.
So, so let me ask you this, curiously, this is where I'm struggling just a little bit. Pips don't actually have to do with, okay, never mind. I'm answering my own question as I'm saying it out loud. But I mean, TradeRinger doesn't go, oh, I'm 76 pips in the market. Maybe I should start doing something different. What we're saying is that by the time the swing happens, the average daily range has traveled about 76 pips into the market.
Right.
Is that what we're saying?
That's what we're saying. And so
okay.
Herein and this is where the next screen will probably become the most, I mean, this is obviously very eye-opening when you look at this screen, and when you start to put this into the context of the grand reconcile against a weekly goal relative to the drawdown percentage and how much more of a swing you need from your 76 pips to get the dollars back into a place where the account can reconcile and get out, we're making it impossible. I mean, think about that, right? Because I mean, you can stay in terms of percentage. It all means the same thing. But I mean, look at 76 and 6 pips in price action on one account, we only need to reconcile a 4% drawdown. On the other, we need to reconcile a 26% drawdown, and now it's Tuesday. I mean, this is such an epiphany for me, as it probably is for you. I'm going, oh. Yeah. My goodness gracious, wow, holy smokes, and hallelujah. And hallelujah.
Yeah, no doubt. That's crazy. For this,
I mean,
yeah, that's nuts.
Wow, right?
That's nuts. Okay, so guys, let me point something out here, because it just
let me before you go. Same starting balance. Same starting balance. Right?
Right.
Same starting balance, same amount of price tag. This is an apples to apples comparison with the exact same starting balance and the same both side by side, same market action, same price action, anyway, go ahead.
All right, so if I say something incorrectly here in my ability to understand this, then by all means, just tell me. So first of all, if we're on a $2,000 account and we're trying to get 2% for the week, how much money is that?
2% account on a 2% gain on a $2,000 account for the week is not a whole lot.
Yeah,
40 bones. 40
All right,
bones.
so if I'm $82 in drawdown at 4.14%, I got more than enough to get my 1.75, my 2%. Correct? There's no reason I should be coming back from $532.60 to gain 40. That's mental. I see where you're going here.
You're honing in on it.
Yeah, no, I see where you're.
I mean, right. So right. So let's take a side. I'm this is why it's so powerful that we do this together. Hopefully people are catching on to what you're saying. Let me run with that for a minute.
Yeah.
On the old way we were set up, even to only get 2%, we're saying that on Tuesday or Monday or whenever, we need the market to move $572 in our favor from where it got backwards. If we were at that 76 pips, we now need the market to travel. We need to make up $500 and basically $72, a $532 drawdown and a $40 gain.
So essentially, we need our drawdown. We're asking the trader to hit a 28%er.
Yeah,
28.3%. Same difference. Percentage, dollars, same difference.
right. Versus again, these setups where the people are really having nice clean accounts. I mean, goodness gracious, right? That they getting out by Tuesday. Okay, give me something difficult to do. I mean, like it's only got to move 4% back to get. I mean, it's just incredible. It's at the same level of price action, we're only 4% drawn down. I mean, that's an easy task at that point for Trade Ringer. You know, so
that's crazy.
now here's where it gets really crazy, right? So the next screen's gonna kind of probably spin you out even more. So I want to point something out. This is going to take a little bit of this is probably going to lose some people, and I apologize. Alan, help me unpack this. You're gonna track what I'm saying. So I'm going to bring my calculator up. Oh, let's see. Is it going to let me bring my calculator up?
Not in a full screen.
Yeah, not with my screen. I'll bring it up in a minute. I can do the math in my head actually for the most part. So we run a currency ring. All right. And we talked about this a lot yesterday. Sean was awesome at his inquisitiveness brought up some really great topics, and it opened the door for some future lunch and learns that you guys are all going to be blessed. Sean's a really smart guy, and he asks a lot of great questions. And yesterday was really fun time. As Alan said, we had a great time, but it was also very insightful even for Alan and I, because some of his questions really compelled some thought process. And one of the questions he said, well, why don't is there any way we could build a currency ring without needing to include one of the miners? And here's where this led to, and this is very valuable insight. The answer is no, you cannot. And we talked obviously in the previous lunch and learn a couple days ago about how to build a ring. Here's the thing that Sean identified that's so spot on. He goes, look, with lack of volume, you have greater volatility. Yep, true statement. With lack of volume, typically that is synonymous with a larger average range, a larger average true range, average daily range, volatility, whatever word you want to use. They all basically mean the same thing. And so this is where, again, probably the biggest aha went off for me, and it really gets exacerbated with the wrong settings. The gray column on the right makes this really pronounced in a bad way. So pretend for a minute that let's start on the column on the right with the two that are highlighted with gray. Let's say for a moment that we have the two majors that have less volatility. The weekly price action is around 100 pips for the entire week. That's most of the majors, like USD CHF. That's where it's at. I'm running it in real time, and it's spot on. I mean, it's right around 100 pips for the week. Okay. USD JPY, typically right around there, a little bit bigger than 100 pips, but not much. Now, when we get into the minors, whether we were talking previously Euro JPY or maybe we're talking now CHF JPY, we're going to go over 120 pips, 130 pips. So substantially more volatility in the minors, but you can't make a trading ring without them. So here's where this gets very, very eye-opening. And again, you're going to need to put your creative hat on with me. Alan, I know you will follow this. You're good with numbers and math. Some people, I'm going to apologize in advance. I know this is going to lose you. I'm sorry. I'll try. Alan and I together will find a way to maybe unpack this slightly differently with some different graphics and make it easier to find. But pretend for a minute that the top two, that the 43 pips is actually positive money right now in the two majors, right? The two pairs that have less volatility, your USD CHF, your USD JPY. Let's say those are both currently 43 pips to the good. So we have $267.60 in gain, okay? $267, right, and 60 cents in gain.
That would be 133.80 times 2.
Times 2. To try to offset the soldier that went rogue, and reconcile back, pull it back against that 532 because the price action, right? Where when you have 43 pips on a smaller ADR, you're going to be closer to those 76 pips on that minor, on that third currency pair. You're going to be, that one's going to have run farther because it moves faster.
Right.
It's got a faster speed of moving, and it moves farther in the market.
Like
and so,
the GBP.
What's that?
Like the GBP.
Or even the Euro JPY, or even the CHF JPY. And so now when you think about this, right? So again, in terms of percentages, watch. I mean, this is going to be the golden epiphany for everybody. So let's say we take 6.69% times 2, right? And so we've captured what would that be? Let's just call it 13.4% in gain for the week. 13.4% in gain to try to offset 26.6% in drawdown on that one other pair. You're still left with such a long distance away from your 4% net for the week. It's crazy, right?
So you tapped your 4%, so it's actually 13.38%.
So you still would have to get from 13 point, what'd you say, 38%?
13 down to 4 up.
Exactly. So you had two pairs that were performing very, very nicely, very, very well, and we're trying to do the grand reconcile. And when the other settings are not as effective as they needed to be, the software is going, it's not able to use the good behavior of those other two pairs. It's not able to use those to ultimately benefit the overall ability to reconcile the account as a whole. Now, let's look at that exact same scenario with, on the column on the left, with these accounts that are performing beautifully and not running into this massive issue. And you already see where I'm going with this, right? I mean, right? I mean, this spells it all out as clear as day for me. This is where I went, what? That's why I was up at 2 in the morning. I mean, look at it right here, right? So 1.39% times 2, right? So what does that get us? 2.78%.
Correct.
So 2.78%, subtract that from the 4.14% drawdown. What are we left with? 1.4 roughly?
Yeah, what is it?
4.14 minus 2.78.
Yeah, 1.36%.
So now we just have,
honestly, let me make sure I'm tracking with you here. So honestly, then if I'm only at 1.36%, when it comes time to take a haircut, I'm actually up 6.64%. Is that accurate?
No, you'd still be down in this example I'm trying to illustrate, where the minor pair tends to run farther, and when your settings are wrong, the relative drawdown in terms of the percentage of the account balance is so big, you're now taking a smack in the face.
So I'm 1.36 back.
Correct. Yeah. So you're only 1 point, and so now, if the account started to get into drawdown, the software doesn't have a whole lot of work to actually do to still get to that 2% from this average. When it dips into these deeper pips in drawdown as part of a normal average true range throughout the week, 76 pips isn't unheard of. If your other settings are not wrong, it's not a problem. When your other settings are wrong, 76 pips is crippling. Right? I mean, it's all saying the same thing, but when you start to now put it in the context of reconciling out of the market, you don't have very far to go at all with the settings on the left, which is why I believe those accounts are behaving very, very, very nicely.
So here's a question for you. Well, here's an observation that I'm making right now, because we've been saying what we're going to be doing on our accounts. And that is making sure that we're out of the market on Thursday or Friday, regardless of, let me not be so definitive with that word, but we're going to make every effort in our own strategies to be out of the market Thursday and Friday with TradeRinger. Now, if I'm only backwards 1.36%, that's a whole lot easier for me to swallow at Wednesday of 1 if the ringer hasn't performed quite like it we know that it can, rather than eating a quarter of my account at 26% ish.
Yeah,
Well, 15,
you're absolutely right. And
15.38%.
let's look at that for a minute, right? Because again, this is relevant. So let's look at below the blue box, and let's look at that one scenario where we had a crazy off week, and one of like this. Let's look at this. Will really paint. This will tell the tale of the tape with the CHF JPY. Or back when we had the Euro JPY. And Nan, yes, to answer your question, yes. CHF JPY is considered a minor, just as is Euro JPY, just as is any currency that does not include the US dollar. The majors are only the 7 pairs that include the US dollar. Every other pair in Forex is considered a minor, simply because it's not paired with the US dollar. That's why. I saw your question pop up, Nan, so I figured I'd answer it on the fly. So think about this for a minute, right? When the settings are more in line with how these other accounts that have experienced much lower drawdowns are dialed in more properly, and even if you're like, man, gosh, okay, a 9.49% drawdown because that one got this. We're in a week that got away from us. It got outside the daily range. It's at 115 pips, right? It got cuckoo. Okay, well, one account has to carry a 9% drawdown at 115 pips. If you're like, okay, I'm not going to close out, like you said, like we're going to make every effort, but you're like, man, I don't want to close out. Okay, well, compare that to the one on the right. Of course you're not going to close out.
Right. Can't close out.
I mean, you're 49%. This is the tail of the CHF. This is what most people encountered going back to December. You got to the end of a week and you were closer to that 49% than you were the 9%, and because it broke out and it did move, over 115 pips, and now you're left with no choice. You're not going to take a 50% haircut on the account, and that's the problem. When we can't get out at the end of the week, we're screwed, because as unfortunately a lot of people have experienced, that 49.7% drawdown to start the next week.
Yeah, you're done.
It just gets
it gets exponentially worse now.
It's impossible.
For everybody on the call, this is a G-rated call. Screwed is a technical term.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. I mean, I don't know if you want to elaborate more. To me, this was a godsend to hone in on this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a perfect explanation. We don't have a few people that got lucky. We have a few people that put their settings in a place where the mathematics of how the market operates works in their favor, keeps their accounts safe, protects their accounts, and creates a very predictable, reliable, conservative, safe setup, of which I am absolutely I get it. I'm in. I'm a fan. I'm all about this.
All right, so we have some questions. No, this is perfect, man. This is a great way, and I don't know how much more together you would want this to be. It's perfect, but nonetheless. So we have a few questions, so let's jump to those right off the bat. Mr. Sean Fields asks, following this line of thinking of being more abundantly conservative, would it be wrong to think we could be more conservative to consider running 2 rings, which would be 6 pairs, to give the ringer more opportunity to find those conservative gains with smaller pip movements you're talking about, versus forcing it to only focus on 3 pairs that may have one going haywire, i.e. the current CHF situation? I'm going to give this one to you.
So yeah, funny you should ask. So again, it really gets illustrated. I tested that theory this week. It's right here. It's running as we speak. Okay, and I let it run because it's a demo, and it was for this specific experiment. This is live. This is an actual account with 6 pairs right now. So I feel you, my brother Sean, and we're thinking along the same lines. I anticipated the same such question, and so I ran it this week. And here's where I'm at. And to some degree, yes, and to some degree, no. To answer your question, does it potentially? Now, first thing you need to know, I ran it at a 0.01 on a $5,000 account, not 0.01 per something, 0.01, the smallest lot size you can run for the full $5,000 account. Okay, 6 currency pairs. Here's where we're at. We have a current balance of $5,355. We have a current drawdown of $451. So we're still looking at, if we exit right now, taking, a little less than $100 haircut, which on a $5,000 account is not much, 2%, not a huge deal. So I don't know that I can say conclusively that it was better or worse. It just, I would say that it is definitely not conclusively better. Let me say it that way. There's no evidence that 6 pairs is inherently better. And let me say this, by the way, and here's why I will say that. Alan got to experience this. I was jumping out of my chair yesterday. Everybody thought I was some kind of a weirdo. But my newest personal that I launched into Trade Ringer this week on Monday afternoon, we started in with a $3,000 demo account and a 0.02 starting lot size, a 21 level range, a 1.0 level range multiplier, and a 1.5, like just the defaults out of the box. Okay. He started his trading Monday afternoon. He texted me yesterday when I was with Alan and Sean and Jolene and I were there, and I was geeking out because he sent me a screenshot. He was out of the market with his 2%. You want to know what pairs he was running?
I know what pairs.
CHF, JPY, USD, JPY, USD, CHF. And Alan has said this numerous times, and Alan is 100% spot on. It is not the currency. There's no such thing as a tainted currency pair, you guys. And there's no such thing as an immune currency pair. It just doesn't exist. The market is going to behave in erratic ways at times on any currency pair. You know what Murphy's Law would do? Murphy's Law would have somebody convince themselves that if they change pairs, that's the perfect next move. And guess what'll happen with Murphy's Law?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's the next one that pivots and you hit it right at the right time. Boom. Right. Laka. You'll be like, man, forex sucks. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, that's exactly right. One of the things, you guys, if you get into this and if you truly take it on yourself to start doing some reading, you'll find that people who don't stick with their strategies are the ones that lose. When you're bouncing from strategy to strategy to strategy to strategy, when you're getting involved with someone that you just met that has, they better have 2 years worth of strategy data if you're switching. All right, because it is exactly what Ryan just said. No immune currency pairs, no tainted currency pairs. Okay, it's the forex market, you guys, right? And the reality of it is if you bounce back and forth, your timing, your oscillation, and your ability to bounce back and forth, your rhythm to the forex market might just be on the wrong signal, and you might just be going from bad to bad to bad to bad. One thing that Ryan taught me on early, a year ago, is to look left. And wherever your trade is placed, you'll see patience. Exactly, Sam. Okay, you'll see that your price is always going to retrace over its entry point given enough time. Now, when we have setups that are too aggressive, I'm carefully choosing my words here, 400% more aggressive than it seems that they need to be, while we thought we were being conservative, right? It doesn't afford you the T variable, because the T gets sucked down like into a black hole vortex faster than it needs to be, because we're not giving it the time by being that conservative. So some amazing stuff you've figured out here. Crazy. All right, so Nan George is asking that question. You already answered it. Guys, babypips.com. What's a forex major? What's a forex minor? What's a forex cross? What's a forex exotic? Okay, and it's all right there. Okay, Nan George says, thanks, Ryan. You are a stud. No, I put that part in. Okay, let's see. Sam Camp says, so that translates to a few red numbers by Wednesday in CHFJPY, but way more blue numbers in the underperform. Yeah, that's exactly what Ryan was saying. So if the CHFJPY is the minor part of our our three rings, which has two majors because of two USDs in it, that is exactly what he's saying. You've caught on completely. Now, hopefully Wednesday it's put to bed with this strategy, right? Hopefully by Wednesday you're looking at your trader going, okay, I got my 1.75, I got my 2, I got my 1, I got my something. You guys, I've gotten in on NFP weeks before. I started trading on Sunday night, Monday morning up 0.65% out of the market. I just took myself out. Okay, done, happy. A little less than 1%. Again, let's make things relevant here. Super important. Look at what you can get in the marketplace, the retail marketplace, with other avenues of putting your money to work for you. All right, we went over one yesterday. You know, the money market account. That's just crazy. What was it? 0.68 per annual?
Yeah. Less than
And
a
when you
percent.
get 0.65 in a week, you ought to be freaking doing backflips, all right? But everybody wants more. And I get that, but try and quell your thirst just a little. 1% a week is mental. I mean, it's great. All right, so yeah, Sam, you're right on the money. Let's see what else we got here. So Sam, we answered you. Let's see. Sean, that was timing. All my current screwy CHF trades happened on Sunday. Well, that's a statement, not a question. But thanks for sharing. And we're done with Sean. So, what were the settings again on the $3,000 demo account, Mr. Dr. Pipper?
So, I can see that came from Nan.
It did.
So, Nan, here you go. Can you see my settings calculator?
We can, but it's just a little doohickey at the bottom. There we go.
What about now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, this is where that account was for the week. And there you go.
Range multiplier was 1?
Yep, just the default. Just I had it at the default, and it was 0.02 for the entire 3,000. We gave him a 2% goal on Monday afternoon, and he was out of the market by Wednesday.
That's sweet. Rudimentary math, back to the second grade. Anything times 1 is itself. So
Yep.
21 times 1 would just make that range 21 movements every single time, which would get him right between level 3 and level 4 at 76 pippage.
Yep.
With a 3.57% drawdown. Dude, I am fired up. All right, so look, before we let you guys go, we need you desperately to tell all your friends, your dogs, your parakeets, everyone to go to our YouTube channel, okay, and subscribe and watch the videos, okay? The YouTube channel can be reached at very convenient URL, youtube.fullthrottleforex.com. Thank you, Mr. Ryan, for setting up that subdomain. All right, so if you go to youtube.fullthrottleforex.com, please subscribe, okay, to our YouTube channel. We appreciate it very, very much. And, you know, if you have 2 computers, you know, just play the videos and let them run. We need 4,000 hours, and there's going to be more and more and more and more content going up. But That's important. Also, tonight, yours truly will be at the mic doing a customer acquisition or a presentation on what we have going here.
I already got one guest confirmed.
Go
Woo!
on, boy, go on. What time did that happen? Between 3 and 4 a.m.? Were you trying to sleep then?
It was a little before that.
All right. Unshare your screen for this last little segment, if you would, please.
Yes, sir. Hey, I love something that Nancy said, by the way. She said in the chat, if there was the perfect currency pair, everyone would be making money all the time. Yes,
100%.
Nancy, I couldn't agree with you more. I love that. Thank you for putting that in there because that is so spot on.
Well, that's just the same thing, right? Okay, if investing was about putting your money in and just watching it grow, no one would have a job. They don't have a job long enough to get enough money to put it in some kind of a earning vehicle to watch it grow. That's just not how it works, you guys. And now you have control over it, and some of us simply are not going to have the mindset for it. I get it. All right, but yeah. So tonight, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, customer acquisition. You know, it's always a good thing to check in on those and watch them anyways, not because I like to see a lot of people on. Once I go live, I can't see anybody on anyways. But you learn more, you learn some tidbits on what to talk about, uh, when you're speaking to your own prospects, okay? So it is getting better every time I do it. I almost have it without having to read the notes. So we're gonna continue to work on that. So in any event, guys, thank you for being on. We are done. Ryan, you got anything else to say, brother?
You're not looking forward to seeing everybody in LA. Oh, so on that note, stay tuned for the exact approximation of our Friday lunch and learn. I think once we get on the ground in LA and get a feel for what's going on, right? I mean, are we going to attempt to try to do this at the same normal time tomorrow? Can we?
That's gonna be 9 We have no way.
We're actually not even landed yet. We're still in the air. Actually, we don't even land until after 12 noon.
Oh, dude, I could sit in your seat and then Jolene could sit in my seat, and we could do it from the plane. I'll buy. Oh, keep.
Yeah. So that would be one thing.
Lunch and learn tomorrow. It might actually be lunch and learn Pacific time, which would put it at 2:00. But not sure yet. All right, or you may get a notification that says not doing lunch and learn, but we'll try to get it in for sure. We know. Now Saturday, that's a different problem. Okay, the Saturday session, here's where your educations are going to go to work for you. You're going to have to get out and get it on your own. We're both busy all day and night.
And remember, just because the market's open doesn't mean you need to have your software turned on.
Yes, sir, Bobby. We'll try to pick up on some of that on Friday, and kind of maybe combine the two things. But
sure.
But in any event, you guys, we appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for being on. God bless, and have a great rest of the day.
Bye, everybody.